welcome back to another video. In this video, we're going to be talking about Windows SmartScreen detection and protection. So let me show you what I mean. Like if you download an executable file from the internet, and it's say from like some strange website or just something random, it's not in particularly like a trusted zone list from Microsoft or whatever. Essentially what you're going to run into is this. So I'm on my desktop now. I know you guys can't see, so just bear with me, but I'm going to double click to try to open up an executable that was downloaded from the internet. And as you can clearly see, it says Windows protected your PC. This is Microsoft Defender SmartScreen, okay? And this is what I'm talking about. And this is the app. It's called yourfile.exe. It's an unknown publisher, blah, blah, blah. So obviously I'm not going to run it, but the thing is, I'm going to teach you guys how we can kind of get around, I guess some of you guys might call this bypassing. I don't personally, because here's the thing. In the eyes of a malicious programmer, like let's say like you're trying to write some malware or something and infect people, right? You would have to have control over their computer to be able to run code to be able to like bypass Windows SmartScreen, right? Unless you're running some sort of fileless malware in memory. So here's the deal. Like we're gonna say, just for the time being, let's say that your file thing that I just ran, like here I'll run it again. So let's say that this is something that I created, and in fact it actually is something that I created. So I created this, and it has unknown publisher, but it's also appended with a zone ID of number 3. So let me try to make this somewhat clear here. So when it comes to getting detected by Windows Defender SmartScreen or Windows SmartScreen, whatever you want to call it, there are multiple different zone IDs, or they're referred to as zone identifiers, and they go from about, I think, 0 to like 5 or 6 or something like that. 0 is like local machine. So if the file like was built on and came from your local host computer, your 127001, right? And then the next one is number 1. So remember, computers count from 0. So 0 is local machine. 1 is like intranet. 2 is like I kind of forget what 2 even is. I think it's something over the LAN. But then there's number 3. Number 3 is internet zone. And then number 4 is something else, and number 5 and number 6 or whatever they are, they're all something different. They all represent something different. However, the main one that's usually going to cause issue and flag stuff is going to be zone ID number 3. Zone ID number 3 is the internet zone. So when you download an executable file or any other file that can have a zone ID on it that tries to execute on a Microsoft Windows operating system, you're going to use a web browser probably, right? Like everybody does, right? Unless you're just FTP in that shit. So you're going to be downloading it, and your web browser, like, might have like a little download thing up here, right? And I know you guys, like, I'm on the IDE here just trying to show you, but like let's say you like click on the download and then it comes down and drops a menu down and you click this download, whatever. When you're doing all that stuff, like with a web browser, the web browser is actually talking with Microsoft Windows and appending what is known as ADS, or alternative data streams, to the binary executable that you downloaded. And one of those ADSs, those alternative data streams, is actually the zone identifier. So this file that I downloaded from the internet from a weird site, Chrome or Firefox or Edge or whatever you're using, whether it's Chromium based or not, it doesn't matter. Your browser will tell Windows, hey, the guy's trying to download this your.exe whatever from some weird website. It appends it with an ID of 3, which means it came from the internet zone, and that's what causes Windows protection to do this when you try to double click a file that you just downloaded from, say, like either some strange untrusted source or whatever, because it's been marked with zone ID number 3. So I'm going to show you how we can get around this, okay? So here's the deal. I'm going to start a new project, which I already have. I'm going to go project. We're going to go down to options. And we are going to, once it pops up, I'm going to change the theme just so we can kind of get going on this a little bit. So let's go to Appearance. Let's just do Windows 11 Impressive Dark. Good enough for me, right? Good enough for you? Okay. So then on the caption, we're going to do SmartScreen Bypass. Even though I really don't consider this a bypass, to be honest with you guys, because you'd have to execute this code on both sides. I'll try to explain a little better during the video here, but all we're going to need is 2 buttons. So let's just go ahead and do a button on the left. And I know this is going to look ugly, guys. This is just a really basic tutorial to show you how to mess with alternative data streams. Oh, and by the way, one other thing, just while we're at it, I'm going to open up a command prompt, and we're going to go take a look. So let's go to mine, and then let's do more, and we're going to look into your file zone. Here, I'll do zone.identifier. So as you can see, the file on my desktop, the yourfile.exe, does have a zone identifier, a zone transferred from zone ID number 3. This is appended onto the file. That's why whenever I double click it, it tries to do this. You see, it won't let it go because I have Windows SmartScreen enabled, and it detects this crap, right? And it won't let it go. So what I'm doing in this Delphi tutorial is teaching you how to strip these. That way you can basically get around the thing, right? So we're going to leave that there because I'm going to probably use that again here in a minute, and I'll leave the command typed in so we can just hit enter. Okay, so button 1 will be add zone ID, and then we're going to copy that button, paste that button, and we're going to do the same thing, except this time we're going to remove the zone ID, right? So at this point, let's go ahead and just start programming. Let's dive right in. We're going to add zone ID on the first one, and we're going to remove zone ID on the second button. So let's go to the first button. And before we code on the actual button code, we're going to need to create some procedures, okay? So in order to do this, let's go ahead and make a procedure, which is going to be called add zone identifier, okay? And in this, we're going to have some constants. We're going to have a constant file name, which is a string. Then we're going to have a zone ID, which is going to be an integer, okay? So now we have our procedure to add the zone identifier. Let's add one more procedure to simply remove a zone identifier. So we're going to remove the zone identifier, and we're going to have a constant file name, which is going to be a string. And there you have it. Now we have pretty much both of everything we need there. All we have to do is just start doing our coding. So let's get her done. So on the add zone identifier, we're going to have a variable place here, and we're going to have 3 different variables. The first one is zone file, which is going to be a t-handle to our file that we're going to be messing with throughout this process, okay? The second one is going to be a D word or double word, which is going to represent the bytes written to the file, okay? So bytes written is a D word or a double word. And then we're going to say that the zone info is a simple string, and that's it. That's all there is to it, guys. Really simple stuff. Dirt simple. So now, we are going to go ahead and declare or define our zone info string. So we're going to go zone info is now equivalent to whatever the hell we want. And we're going to make that equivalent to zone transfer with brackets Then I'm going to put in a line break, and then, so the line break is by doing this, we're going to a next line. Like, and as you guys saw clearly, like up here, let me see if I can just click this real quick. So whenever we do this, the line break is here at the end. It's this blank bit right here that I'm highlighting. It goes to a new line. You see that? Like, so we're doing zone transfer plus a line break right here, which means we're going down to this line, right? Okay, so you guys follow me so far? All right, so let's minimize this down, go back to this. So we've got the zone transfer and then our line break, and then we're also going to put in zone ID is equivalent to plus the zone ID dot toString. Okay, and that's going to be the zone ID that's passed to this procedure. Okay, guys? You follow me so far? Now we're going to the next line. So this is going to say zone file. So the zone file is going to be equivalent to, we're going to do create file with a P character. And here, let me back this up a little bit. We're going to do the file name, desired access, blah, 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 blah. Okay, it's just a basic. Okay, so create file, and then we're going to do P character, the file name, which was passed to us in our procedure up above there, which is a constant string. If you see that right here, guys, I'm talking about this, right? So we're going to do file name, and then we're going to do plus. We're going to add or append on to the end of what we're looking for, which is the zone dot identifier, and then we're going to do a generic right, and this parameter we're going to leave as 0, nil, and create always file attribute normal. And then we're going to leave this last one as 0, nil, whatever. And we're done. So that will do the creation of the file portion at the end and add in our zone identifier. Like, it'll actually like do that. It'll create that zone identifier and append it to the file that we have just told it to lock onto via creating that file. So now we're going to say if the zone file is equal to, and we are going to put equal, not colon equal, because we're not making it equivalent to something. We're just checking to see if something is true. So we're going to put if zone file is equal to invalid handle value. So then we're going to raise last OS error and let Microsoft Windows handle it. Okay, and then down below, we will, here, we need to probably put this inside of, probably want to put this in a try statement, to be honest with you. Let's just do it, let's just leave it like that. So raise the last error, and then we're going to do this last portion in a try statement, I believe. So let's go ahead and just do try. I see that my IDE has taken upon itself to try to help me, but it really doesn't help. So I'm going to remove this, and I'm going to do try, and then I'm going to simply fill in the blanks, so to speak, I guess. That's a little irritating. I'm going to have to turn that shit off. All right, so let's just go ahead and take what we have, which is this portion out. So after we raise last error, we're going to try to do some stuff and finally finish out. So try, if not write file. Sorry guys, my keyboard is like, I need to clean my keyboard. And for some reason when I press the spacebar, it does too. Like, that is so annoying. If anybody knows how to fix that, please put it in the fucking comments. It's driving me fucking nuts. Okay, so if not write file, and by the way, this is a Razer keyboard in case anyone is having that issue, please let me know. I'm guessing I need to pull the keycap off and clean it or something, I don't know. But anyway, if not write file, so if we didn't write the file properly, then we're just going to say the constant buffer, this is going to be a pcar to the zone info string pointer to the length. Sorry guys, just give me a sec. Zone info. If I don't do this, I'll lose my thought process. So this is going to be to the length of zone info, and then we're going to have that times, oh wait, it's times by the size of character. Sheesh. Okay, so then we're going to have to do bytes written nil. Alright, that'll be fine. Then we're going to say raise last error, and I'm just going to copy it from here and be lazy. So there you have it. And then finally, at the bottom of all this, we're going to close our handle of the zone file. Okay, so if I do Control D, this is now set up to add a zone identifier. Let's go ahead and program the remove zone identifier. Okay, so this one's even more like really basic. So we're going to create a variable section. We are going to have a zone file, which this is just going to be a string. We're not going to do the whole handle thing this time. No need to, because we're not creating. We're just kind of like stripping something, and we can use the delete file when API to do that. So the zone file will be equivalent to the file name. Here we'll just do file name, and then we're going to do plus zone.identifier. If not, delete file, and we're going to do pcar zone file. Then raise last error. And that's it, guys. It's literally done. This is the entirety of the program. All you have to do is call add zone identifier and remove zone identifier from the respective buttons. So let's go ahead and go back here and do add zone ID. That's going to be add zone identifier, and it's expecting a file name and a zone ID. So the file name is going to actually be, I'm going to have to find my path, so give me just a second here, guys. I'm going to copy this, so we'll do this. So as you can see, it's C users, my name, and then desktop, the file that we're going to be messing with. And then we're going to have the zone identifier appended. So we're going to do comma and number 3, okay? That should essentially do it. And then we're going to also have to put remove zone identifiers. So let me go to the remove button and paste this in. Okay, so I think that looks pretty good. So like, okay, so let me just try and run this and we'll see what happens. Like, I'm going to double click the executable on my desktop, the one that we've already been playing with. So like, if you'll notice, I'll check it again. The yourfile.exe already has a zone identifier of 3. So it was a zone transfer from zone ID 3 from the internet. So I'm gonna clear that out, and I'm going to try to run it just like I always have. So I'm going to try to double click that exe, and you're going to see that Windows SmartScreen is, it's being an annoyance, right? Okay, so here's the deal. We're going to not run the file, but we are going to run this program that I just made. So we're going to run it. And as you can see, this is our program. We can either add a zone ID or remove a zone ID. Now, obviously, there's already a zone ID appended to this file. So let's try removing it. So I'm going to click remove, and then I'm going to close this out. And we're going to go back into the command prompt, and we're going to hit enter. Hey, check it out. It says the system cannot find the file specified. So I think that did appropriately remove the zone identifier alternative data stream. So here, I'll tell you what. The other program, by the way, guys, is the same clone of this program, but it looks a little better. I'm going to double click the yourfile.exe on my desktop and see if it bypasses Windows SmartScreen now. And as you can see, it did. It just worked. Like it just ran straight up. So I'm going to close that out, and we're going to go back to the graphical interface of this. I'm going to run this one more time, and we're going to add a zone ID. So here's the deal. I'm going to double click it again just to show you what it looks like. It ran straight up. You see that? So I'm going to close this out, and we're going to go ahead and add the zone ID to this and see what happens. So I've just added the zone ID, and then we're going to go back into command prompt. And as you can see, it is now reappended the zone ID, zone transfer to the end of that file for the alternative data stream. So now, if I try and double click my file again, Windows SmartScreen should be able to detect that. And it did. See? So there you have it, guys. That is how you bypass or work around Windows SmartScreen. Now, a lot of you are probably thinking, okay, well, Bitmaster, that's great and all, but one major issue that I can foresee with that is that, you know, for information system security and for security professionals looking to, you know, try to get around Windows SmartScreen in such a way that, you know, they're able to, well, I guess, you know, hack people, right? This is actually 100% useless. And actually, believe it or not, that's kind of true. Because just because you can remove the alternative data stream on your computer doesn't mean that the alternative data stream is not going to get reappended to that file once you've sent it out to other people. Um, so here's the thing. If you want to preserve your file, that becomes the next question, how to preserve it, like how to make it to where no matter what happens, the browser will not reappend that type of stuff to it, thus causing, you know, either legitimate people you're trying to give software to be able to run it, because then they're going to be bitching at you like, oh, what's this smart screen crap? I don't like this, you know. So to get around it, what you could do, just a very primitive method, you could like zip it up or put it in an ISO file. Um, you know, like zip it up even like with a passworded zip, or even I think even a non-passworded zip. You could just like 7-zip archive it and whatnot, and then just throw it on there, and it should be all right. So that's one method, but there are many others. You can also use stagenography to put it inside of like different file types and stuff like images and send it, and it's not going to get appended to, et cetera, et cetera. Just all that stuff, right, guys? So anyway, guys, I really hope that you enjoyed this. I wanted to keep this video really short. Looks like it's almost at 23, 24 minutes long already, so I'm going to cut it off here. But I really hope that you enjoy this. I will be linking you to the full project, which is not the one we wrote, but it is actually going to be this one. As soon as it pops up, this one here, I've put it on my GitHub, and all of the source that we included in this one is in this one. I just think this one looks a little nicer. So you'll have full access to this project. That way you have the code. And really, the only code here, guys, is just the two procedures for adding and removing the alternative data stream with the internet zone ID. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. If you have any comments, questions, whatever, feel free to put them down below this video. And if you guys need me to do other things, again, I've been very busy lately. I'm trying to make more videos for you guys. I've still got a lot of work to do before getting around to making some more really serious security videos and stuff. I am planning on doing quite a bit, but I just haven't had enough time to get around to it. So, like I said before, comment, rate, subscribe. Please like the video. Tell your friends about it. That way we can try to grow this channel, and I can make more videos for you guys. Until then, I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.